Good morning, and it is a beautiful morning. So, if you're joining us for the first time, welcome to Money Truth Moments with our very own Money Truth expert, our very own financial advisor, our very own Judy Copenbarger. How are you?
I'm great. I love the money whisperer part. That's so
Great.
fun. Yeah, I guess that's right. A horse whisperer tells the horse what to do, right? And I guess
That's
that's what
right.
I do, to help people tell their money what to do. So, exactly. That's awesome. How are you, Carlos?
I'm doing fantastic. It's November. It's a beautiful sunny day out there. We're sharing the message of just how to be financial experts, right? Following your wisdom and your leads of everything that we share. So, and we're also in a month of being grateful for a lot of things. So we are grateful for you and what you share with all of us. So,
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. And it's an honor. I love being here.
so what do you say we get started? We've been talking a lot about, this month we started talking a little bit about our veterans. You covered a lot on the last episode. So folks, if you didn't catch the last episode, please do so and share it with those that are in the service. Thank them also for their service. We're very grateful for that. But this week, I thought we'd talk about save money for what, right? That's the big question because you have Christmas coming up, but what are we really saving money for, right? So let me ask you this: why isn't saving money alone enough to secure financial stability?
Yeah. Well, what's the point? If you save your money your whole life, you never have any fun, you never do anything or impact the world in any way, and you die with a pile of money with a big house on the top of the hill that you've never shared, what's the point? Right? So it's how you
Yeah.
use it, how you steward it. And so I think, beyond saving money, that's an important element of a good financial plan because you've got to have something to work with and something to grow with. Um, but there's a lot more to saving money. It's protecting it, it's growing it, it's managing, it's using, it's giving. It's all of these things that we do once we have some money saved. Now, for a lot of people, if you say, it's just a matter of saving at the end of the month, they're like, yeah, what am I going to save? There's nothing left. Well, that's a
Right.
spending issue. And we've got all kinds of techniques to help you with your spending issues. But when it comes to saving, it's important to do it, but you always want to know what it's for and when you're going to use it. So you keep the end in mind when you start your saving.
And I think a lot of us don't keep that end in mind. It's always like by emotion, right? You've talked about this before. It's like an impulse buy, or oh look, I don't want to lose money on this deal, and we just jump right on it. But you want to talk a little bit more about that end game plan that you've mentioned this before as well too.
Yeah, well, with any goals, it's like, what's it for? So if my goal is to run a marathon, I can't just get up and go. Maybe if I was a super athlete, I could try it, right? But there's training that needs to happen. You have to set your mind, you have to set your body, you have to train your muscles, train your joints. You have to learn how to manage your water and your nutrition along the way. And a marathon is a long ways, and some people run a lot farther than the 26.2 miles. I've done it. It's a thing, right? But you don't just get up and say, "I think this weekend I'll do that." Most people don't, right? You might hurt yourself. So there's a training process, and it's the same thing with financial planning. There are habits that you put in place. There are systems and processes that you put in place, which could be as simple as just your. I'm going to say the B word, budget.
Oh
I
no.
know the B word. It's a spending plan. It's like setting that in place. And sometimes we have to do it multiple times in life because things have changed. Your income changes, your outgo changes, your expenses changes. You have triplets, now they're off to college. Oh, and now they're on their own. All those things change our bottom line and the money that flows in and the money that flows out and all the wonderful reasons why money flows out, right? And so savings is just one little element of that. With the money that is saved, part of it's allocated for the expenses right now. Part of it's for like a goal coming up. If you're really smart about it, it's like you don't want to be surprised by car payments. What if you already had a down payment ready to go? Now your car payments are smaller or you don't even need it. Just pay cash. That's just smart. You're going to spend the same dollars. You're just not going to spend all the extra money on the interest along the way. It's the same dollars, right? So it's just a little planning. And then the long-term planning, what are you going to do later if you're going to have that special vacation down the road, take the family to Hawaii, celebrate an anniversary or big birthday, retirement, where's that income going to come from? So all of those things go into a comprehensive plan. How do you manage your taxes? How do you manage your insurances and protective instruments? Estate planning, all of that. So all of that comes into play with the spending plan and with the goals along the way. It's not all just about savings. There's kind of a downside to only saving as well.
And speaking of that, so let's talk a little bit about that. So, what are some of the biggest risks that you've seen on relying solely on just saving without a plan?
Oh, well, I think it's more of an emotional thing with my experience with clients that have this. It's like, their grandparents taught their parents to teach them, and now they teach your kids, save your money, save your money, save it, put the money in the bank, save, 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 right? And so they do that, but they never really have the money available to grow, and they really don't have the money available to protect. Right. So money can be doing other things. If it's all sitting in the bank, it's kind of like you have an extra bedroom and you rent it out, but the guy doesn't pay. He's sitting in there playing on his, phone. He doesn't pay. He doesn't go out and work. He doesn't contribute at all to the household. And it's kind of like you have Mr. Money that lives at your house. And if you're accumulating and you're growing and you're saving your money, put him to work, right? That's how you're going to fund your future goals and your retirement. Mr. Money's out there working like a lumberjack, chopping the wood, putting it in the yard. He's storing it up. If you put Mr. Money back in the spare bedroom and don't make him do anything, that's like putting all of your money in the bank. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have some savings in the bank or credit union or, under your mattress, wherever you do your savings. You should have that. That's your cash reserves and your money you're going to need right away, right? So you don't end up using a credit card. But beyond that immediate cash reserves, that money should be working. Put Mr. Money to work. That's the risk of people that just save all the time and they don't do the other. Now, the emotional side is they go through life kind of hoarding the money. It's like, gotta save, gotta save. I can't spend anything. I can't do anything. I can't upgrade my plane tickets. I can't take that trip. I can't buy that new car. I can't buy that new nightie. I can't do anything with the money. And there's money in the bank. Come on, grandma, get a new robe. Those people, right? They
Oh,
were
yeah.
taught to
Oh,
save, right? We all know them. And some of us are married to one, right? I don't happen to have that problem. I have another problem. But some people don't spend their money. And why go through life just accumulating when you can have such an impact with your money? You can enjoy life. You can create a lifestyle that's very pleasant and kind of balance that. Now, financial planning is about balancing that, right? Enjoying now, but also having some for later. That's the planning side. And then helping others along the way, whether it's a family or causes that you care about, having an impact out there. It makes life meaningful and fun. So that's the downside. I went a long way to answer your question, but the downside is that, the social, emotional side, but also it's a risk financially to only save and not be investing and putting your money to work.
and I'm going to tell you something that really stuck out is what you said too. Like, what are we saving for, right? You have all of you're at the top of the hill, you're in this and that, but you're not enjoying life too, right? Especially if you do that, you have a family that you don't really share this with, or you want to just keep that hoarding it and saving, which in some cases is good, but in most cases it just doesn't do. You don't have that balance, and I think that's the key to pretty much what you're putting out there as well too. But let's also talk about, you mentioned financial planning, right? So let's talk about what roles do financial planning tools or strategies play in achieving these long-term goals, right?
Absolutely. That's a great question. And I think it comes down to that balance. How much do I need for now? How much do I need for later? And you can't really answer those questions appropriately until you have proper goals. So it all starts with the end in mind, a proper goal. And so you might have three or four, maybe five or six major goals. There's little goals like, I want to put new brakes on my car. that might be important, right? But there's these big goals that you have. You're like, man, my life would be complete if I know my retirement income base is handled. My life would be complete if I know every year I have $10,000 or 50,000, it doesn't matter, to go on trips, to either fly my family in to see me, go see grandma, right? Or for me to go see them, or to go visit the world, and understand the cultures around the world and travel. Maybe that's a goal that you have. And my life will be complete if I know every year there's money set aside to do that. My life is complete if I know that every 3 years I can get a brand new model vehicle, pick a new color, and just, I just like a nice new car smell. And I just want to have a new car every few years. Maybe that's your goal, right? So everybody has these things. They're all different. I do financial roadmaps for people all the time. I've never had two identical financial roadmaps. What are your most important goals? For each goal, you have to have a really clarity around, when do I want to achieve it? What is that retirement date? When do I want my new car to happen? When is that anniversary that we want to take, and do that cruise or that trip to Hawaii or whatever it is? And how much money will I need for that? So once you have these big, kind of like those big rocks you put in, and then you put in the small pebbles, and then you put in the sand and the water, you know that story. So it's
Yeah.
like you put in the big rocks first. If I achieve these 3, 4, 5 most important goals, and I know that that is set, life is good. I can kind of relax, cruise, and just do that. So when you have proper goals, you know what the money's for. So when you're saving or when you're implementing money, that line item on your spending plan, not budget, but spending plan that goes for you, like you're paying you while you're paying all the other bills, you pay yourself too. That money can dribble into these goals that you have, these goal, whether they're separate accounts or just kind of an accounting of, what we're allocating the money for. And you'll know that the most important goals that you have in life financially will be achieved, and you have that confidence. Life is good. And you don't worry about, do I have enough savings? Do I have to get to 1 million or 5 million or 10 million, right? Or 50,000, whatever your goal is. What's it for? Right. And all of these tactics that we talk about, all of these strategies that we talk about in a really good sound financial plan help guide you there. And then you push the easy button, right? You can worry about other things and not worry about how big your savings account is every Tuesday. And life shows up for people when they plan.
So one of the things I like for you to touch on too, because planning is all great. We have all these goals, short term, midterm or long term goals as well too. But sometimes people don't prepare for the unexpected. So how does financial planning prepare folks for the unexpected?
Well, part of a good financial plan is that cash reserved we talk about. And part of that is the uh-oh money. Some people call it other things, but it's uh-oh, something happened. I had an unexpected car accident, and now I need to pay the deductible, to get a new car. The garbage disposal went out. All of a sudden there's a crisis with one of our children, or we need to help them, or something's gone. Or maybe the work that we do all of a sudden isn't there. Stroke of a pen, it changed. COVID, we saw a lot of people. It's like, wow, I had a job, I had a business, now I don't, right? So cash reserves come in handy for those things. It's the uh-oh money. So your cash reserve should always be several months of basic expenses just to cover that. That's kind of like peace of mind. I can sleep at night. And it might be 3 months, it might be 12 months, right? For most people, it's between 3 and 6 months. If I know that all of my expenses will be there, if I can't work for, I have an accident or can't work or whatever, I pull my muscle, running that marathon.
Mhm.
Oh, I can't work for a few weeks. You're still going to be okay without having to go to, family or go use a credit card or a HELOC or something. So when you have that in place, it just makes life so much better. But you got to have that cash reserves, that emergency bucket set up for
Yeah.
sure.
So in your career, I'm sure you come across a lot of this, but what's the most common misconception that people have about financial planning? Like, what are the fears, or you know?
I talk to people that plan. I don't talk to a lot of people that don't plan. So I would guess some people don't talk to a financial advisor because there's some guilt or shame about where they are. It's amazing how people feel like, oh, I should be further ahead. I should have more accumulated. Here I am, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and I'm not where I want to be financially. I don't really want to show that, turn over and show my belly to a professional, and they're going to go, whoa, this is a bad one. I think there might be some guilt and shame for some people financially. There's blame that comes in too. If you have spouses and one has made a mistake, or, usually two spouses don't agree on everything financially. There's usually one more conservative, one more aggressive. It's a little different. We didn't grow up in the same household. So of course, right? But I think for some people there might be some blame. If they're going to come together to a planner, they both need to be there. But if one of them's going, well, they didn't make enough, and that one they spent too much, or they invested in that bad thing, or they lost the house, or whatever it is, there's that, and so it brings some concern and sometimes stress to a conversation. So why would I want to have that in front of a professional? I don't even want to talk to you about it, right, honey? So there might be some of that. For other people, it might be, well, I don't have enough, where a planner can't really help me. I don't have enough. I don't have millions and millions, and I've got tax problems and estate planning problems. It's surprising how a very small estate can be very complex depending on the nature of the assets, the family dynamics, who the players are in the family. Sometimes a small estate needs even more planning than a large estate that might be very simple. Um, so I don't know. Those are probably some hesitations people have. What do you think? You're out there in the world. Do you talk to people that, you know, have opinions about this?
I will tell you that the very first thing that always comes up is the word trust. So a lot of folks, and you've
Oh,
talked about this before. Not everyone's created equal. Not every financial planner has your best interest at heart, right? We discussed this, but I think when it comes down to that, it's that still that hesitation that, and you hit it on the nose. One is shame for sure. I should be further ahead than I am now.
mhm.
Second is, who do I talk to? Because I don't really know who's who in this arena. And then sometimes a lot of us grew up with taking advice from our parents who didn't know any better, right? Didn't know anything about investing. Everything was just save, 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 and that was how we got through it. But I think that with these new kids coming out of high school, these new kids starting lives, starting their careers, and all that, it's a different world. And I think what we've been able to provide, and I think with the show as well too, is you're giving people an option and hope to hopefully get rid of some of this distrust, to really do your homework and talk to people who know what they're doing. Because at the end of the day, we don't know what we don't know, and I think that's part of the problem. And that not knowing that creates this fear, hesitation. Well, is this person really going to help me invest in the right things? And other people think that overnight, you hear the word investment, it's like, okay, I'm giving you $1,000 and you're going to make it into $100,000 in a week. So it's very unrealistic, right?
Yeah,
So you
online.
kind
Yeah,
of, yeah, exactly. Bitcoin, for example, right? Oh, let me invest all of this and this and that. But it comes down to educating folks and making sure that folks are asking the right question. And this is why you've been doing this for a while, is because you really want to teach people the truth about money and how to really utilize it, right? How to make Mr. Dollar work for you rather than against you. So that's some of the stuff that I've seen out there, and I continue to see. And I'm hoping that a lot of the folks start tuning in and hopefully sharing your website and some of this message as well. Start getting past that. 2025 is almost here, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking about some of the potential goals. What does 2025 look like for you? And it's time for you to start thinking about it, especially now at the end of November. For sure.
absolutely. And I love that you have that insight to what people are thinking. And that's part of, I don't really know how they get there or why they don't plan, but that's part of my motivation for creating Money, Truth, and Life, was so people that don't go to a planner, don't work with one, don't want to hire one, don't want to, expose everything. They've got the tools they need at home to do at least something. And they know at
Absolutely.
least, what track to get on. There's growth and protection, there's 5 pillars of finance. If you're missing one of those, you have exposure in your financial journey. And so that's one of the reasons that I set all this up, was so people would have the templates, the tools, the education, so some at least basic knowledge. Some of it goes deep, but a lot of it's just basic. It's like, oh, just do that. You'll solve 80% of the financial problems that you're having. So that's why I set all this up. So I mean, people do hire me, but not very many. I can't work with very many people, right? I've got a life,
Right.
but the resources are here. The knowledge is here for people that want it, and that's why I created it.
And speaking of that, we're at the tail end of the show, so I'm dying to know what's next. What's next for our Money Truth Challenge, right?
The
Should be a good
challenge.
one.
The challenge. Well, today is all about savings. So the challenge is to not only increase your savings, or start it if it's not a habit that you have, increase the savings you have and decide whether it's for right now, for soon, or for later. Right? Is it money you need for more expenses right now, money that you need for a goal in the short term, or is it a long-term goal for retirement? Most people at retirement age say, I wish I would have done more. I wish I would have saved another 1%, 2%, 5%. So look at exactly what you are saving, where is it going, and then allocate it appropriately. If you have a tendency to save the money and not invest the money, look at options that you have. Is there something you can do in a retirement plan Maybe start your own independent IRA that you set up, you control. Nobody's in charge of it but you. If you have options at work, look into the 403B. If you're a public employee or a teacher, look into the 401k if it's offered at your company, and see what you can do to save a little bit more intently and intentionally for the future. That's your challenge.
All right, folks, you've heard the challenge. Please let us know. If you have any questions, send us a message as well, too. And if you're not following Judy, please do so at judycopenbarger.today. We are here every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. with the replay on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Wow, this was a great show. So, any last parting words?
Well, the holidays are coming. Get into a grateful state of mind. Besides planning what kind of gravy you're going to have on your turkey, think of someone that you can help. Maybe invite in one of the Marines. You know, they have all these great programs to host a family that doesn't have family around for Thanksgiving. Maybe you can help with a food drive or help a neighbor that's serving other people. But whatever you do, be grateful and share that with others. Enjoy your holiday.
All right, you guys, we'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Okay.